Hey guys, how's it going? We've reached the midway mark in the Friday the 13th series with Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. Personal favorite of mine, just such a fun flick. And I'm not alone again in this review. Again, we have reviews and rankings with Robbie Sobel. We got Filthy Dan's film discussion. We got Good Real Hunting. We got Moser movie reviews. All of them are going to be putting out reviews the same day as mine, so go check them out. Links will be in the description, and also House of the Living Dead's channel's link will be in the description as well, because they do watch alongs to the movies we reviewed every Friday night. So make sure to go check out all their channels, all great content creators. I'm excited to talk about this one, so let's dive right in. So Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, was released in 1986. It stars Tom Matthews, Jennifer Cook, and was directed by Tom McLoughlin, or McLaughlin. I hear different people pronounce it different ways, but it's McLoughlin. So McLaughlin, I'm not sure, McLaughlin, depends how you pronounce it. Now, like I was saying earlier, guys, this is just such a fun entry. It's very like hard rock, like very 80s hard rock style. Well, coming out in 86, that's what was thriving at the time. It really took the franchise in a whole nother direction, where while Part 5 was really cheesy but still tried to be like the first 4 films, this is its own beast on its own. And honestly, it had to take a different direction, because at this point, I don't think people were taking the franchise as serious anymore. While the terror is still there with this entry, I feel like he does a really good job of mixing in a little bit of dark humor in there and making it a little meta. And yeah, he changes things up in a really fresh way. And in this one, we follow Tommy Jarvis again, coming off Part 5. And he is played by Tom Matthews this time, not John Shepherd, and which is an excellent choice. John Shepherd just didn't do it for me as Tommy Jarvis. I think it was just excellent casting there. He has such a better personality, and he just gives off better vibes than... like, I didn't mind Corey Feldman, but I mean, that's the kid version. We needed a good adult version, and now anytime I think Tommy Jarvis, I think Tom Matthews. So you know he did a good job in that respect. It's in no way consistent with the events of Part 5, like the way his character would have been, but I don't care, because I didn't like Tommy in Part 5 at all. And this is 1 year after the events of Part 5. So we are in 1990, guys, at this point. So this movie starts off with Tommy and his buddy. They go try to find Jason's gravesite. They make it to the cemetery, and he really wants to get rid of him once and for all, even though he's already dead from Part 4. But he wants to make sure that he will never come back. So he brings a gas can and all that shit, and he plans on tearing the guy up. But they accidentally bring him back, which is totally the opposite thing that Tommy was going for. And he pretty much comes back like Frankenstein style. They stick a pole in him, and lightning happens to strike, and it ends up bringing him back almost zombified. So Tommy manages to escape the cemetery with his life and takes off, while Jason is on his way back to camp through the woods. And it's really interesting because he went from the morgue to the camp in Part 4, but we didn't get to really see his adventure. But this time we actually get to see him going through the woods and making it through like a paintball game and all this stuff to get to the camp, and I thought that was really cool. Now at the camp where he's headed is a big group of colorful counselors. These are some of my favorites. It's honestly some of the best counselors in the entire franchise, or just characters in general. They're a whole lot of fun, great chemistry with each other. My favorite would probably be Sissy and Court. Court's actually played by John Travolta's nephew, which is pretty crazy. I never knew that until recently, and when you watch the movie, you really notice the resemblance with him and John Travolta. I believe it's his sister's son, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he's great. I love his scene where he's teaching the kids about like Native Americans and that. It's just so hilarious. And that's another thing. At camp, we actually get kids this time. Like, for a franchise that depends on there being a camp setting with these counselors, you would think that we'd have more kids in these entries. But honestly, this is the one where we see the kids the most. and or even get kids at all for that matter, and it's great. It adds so much more to the film, so much more danger, tell you the truth, because it's one thing for adults to be stalked by Jason, but to have a bunch of innocent kids there, that's like a whole nother situation. So while Jason's causing havoc and killing people on his way to camp, on the other side we get Tommy trying to stop him any way he can. He heads to the police station and tries to warn them, but they're not having it. They think he's just a crazy loony. They shoot him in the jail cell, and yeah, he has to deal with Sheriff Garrett, which is super against Tommy and doesn't believe him at all. Well, who would, going on about Jason when the guy was supposed to be dead? So the sheriff ends up locking Tommy up, and his daughter ends up coming in with a group of her friends and really takes a liking to Tommy. And the sheriff don't like that either. He wants to keep them separated because he don't trust Tommy at all. And her name's Megan, and Megan is just an awesome character. She's so cool, she's sexy, she's the whole package, and she really likes Tommy, and she believes him and wants to help. So basically this all leads to Megan helping Tommy escape jail, and they both head over down to the camp where Jason's ready to take everybody out, and they plan on stopping him. And now this final act is real engaging. It's one of the better ones in my opinion. You got the whole scene where Tommy's trying to chain Jason back down to the bottom of the lake, which is kind of a clever way to finish him off since he did drown as a boy. But if it wasn't for Megan, Tommy would have got it too, because Jason was hauling him down as well. She comes in the nick of time, ends up turning on the propeller for the boat and like slicing open Jason's throat and neck, and the guy starts twitching and shit, and it's awesome. You see all the guts and shit come out into the water, the blood, and it looks great. It's one of my favorite ways of defeating Jason in this franchise. So let's get into talking about Jason in this film. He's played by C.J. Graham perfectly, in my opinion. He got the whole zombie walk down pat. And when I say zombie, I don't mean zombie like, oh, to eat brains or anything. I just mean like the undead. Like, he was dead, now he's back. He kind of got the whole Home Depot look going on. That's what a lot of people like to call it, with the button-up green shirt and the yellow gloves and such. And it's an okay look. It's not one of my favorites, but definitely not one of the worst either. And since he's practically undead at this point, it makes a lot more sense to me. I know this isn't like a grounded series or anything, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem as far-fetched when people are shooting him and hitting him with all sorts of stuff and he keeps coming back. Well, now it makes a little more sense, in my opinion. His kills, on the other hand, aren't the best. The MPAA was really starting to hassle all the slasher films and that at the time, because they weren't having these gory kills no more. They were making everybody cut them or put them off screen. And it's just going to get worse with these entries as I go on, with I think part 7 being one of the worst. But in this one we do get one really cool kill with Sheriff Garrett, where he gets pretty much folded in half, like backwards. And it's right awesome. You hear the crunch and stuff when he's folding them. But the rest of the kills aren't bad, even though they were cut back and that. I don't think it ruined the film or anything. Also, funny enough, we got zero nudity in this film. And especially coming off part 5 with it being a porn director and everything, it's a pretty big change. But to me, it's not a bad thing. I think they pull it off well. We still get one sex scene, but like they're wearing their clothes and that. We don't get no titty action or nothing, but I mean, we get it enough in the other films where I don't feel that it hurt this film at all, not including it. And to be honest, growing up, I never really noticed that this film was lacking the nudity compared to the other ones. I'm like, wow. So aside from the great characters and performances and all that stuff, the soundtrack is great in this too. We get a few tracks by Alice Cooper, one being like the main Jason song, The Man Behind the Mask. That's a killer track. And I think we also get like Trick Bag and a few other things in here, like on the radios and stuff. And I'm a big Alice Cooper fan, so that would look like it was set up just for me, like perfect fan service. Love that. And that also gives us that hard rock feel. And surprisingly enough, this film has some pretty good stunt work as well. The biggest thing being the RV or the camper scene when it starts rolling on the road. And it's like that whole scene with that camper and in court and that girl is perfect, in my opinion. From their sex scene onto their deaths, it's great. But that one scene where it's rolling after they die and Jason comes out standing on top of it, it's just so badass. And yeah, that's what this film is. It's just so badass. We didn't get scenes like that before. Like, we didn't have barely any stunt work in these films. They were just straight up slashers before. But now we're getting like these crazy like vehicles rolling on the road and shit. You're like, wow, you can tell that this is getting more and more mainstream, if you will, but not in a bad way. Like, the series is really getting recognized by this point, and Jason is a superstar. Another thing that I really love is how meta this movie can be at times as well. If you know me, I love like Scream and all those other movies that like New Nightmare that deal with like they know they're in a horror movie or certain things like that, stuff that makes it meta. And this film has a few instances, like whether it be the two people trying to pay off Jason with like a credit card, or like where they're saying any guy with in a mask is bad news, or you know, stuff like that. Another one being when the gravekeeper turns and looks at the camera and pretty much talks to the audience. You must think I'm a fart head. It's just all little things like that. We never got that in this franchise before, and that's why this one feels so fresh and fun, because they try new things and they all seem to work. Like even like the opening credits, like when Jason's walking and it's like James Bond, da-na-da-na, like even that is pretty clever. And this is the only film with that style in the entire franchise. And a few other memorable scenes I want to talk about. One being the infamous paintball scene. Now, a lot of people hate this scene, and they call it a sin. It should have never been in the franchise at all. I never felt that way. I have a really good time with the paintball scene. Yeah, it's a little goofy in that, but I really enjoy all the characters, the way they're interacting with each other. And that one guy is all pissed off that a woman killed him there. She shouldn't be playing these games. She should stay in the kitchen. And like with his machete hitting everything. I don't know. It just really works for me. I only have one nitpick, and it's pretty much for this whole movie, is in the paintball scene, is when the smiley face is on the tree. Like a guy gets shoved into a tree and it just becomes bloody with a smiley face on it. I don't think that would have been the best choice. I think if the smiley face would have been already there and they just like made it bloody, okay. But to make his face give the tree a smiley face, that's a little too Looney Tunes for me. But it's only a small nitpick, like very small. Aside from that, I love the rest of the paintball scene. Another thing I want to mention is Deputy Rick. That's like Sheriff Garrett's assistant. He has this pistol with this big ass laser sight on it. And it's just great how he's always wanting to use that red dot sight. Where the red dot goes, ya bang. And it just makes for a really memorable scene. Now guys, I can go on and on forever about how much I love this film and all the great things in it, but I don't want to be here all day. Yeah, great cast, great performances, great Jason, great everything in my mind. It's just such a fun, stylistic entry. So I'm just going to end it right here and give you guys my rating. I got to rate this bad boy, wait for it, a 9.5 out of 10. Yes, this is, as of now, the highest rated movie on my channel. I love it. It's definitely the one I rewatched the most of the series. And yeah, I just connect with this one so much. It's definitely not the best slasher if you're only looking for that. That would probably be the final chapter will probably be the best slasher. But if you're just looking for a really good, this fun 80s horror flick, this one's for you. So guys, let me know down below what you guys think of Jason Lives. I know it's pretty much a fan favorite up there with the final chapter. And also in the description will be a link to the J-Man's Movie Cave. That's Jason Nike's channel. And he is going to be hosting a Friday the 13th award show, which is very exciting. A lot of YouTubers are going to be involved in this, myself included. This award show is going to be taking place August 13th, guys. You don't want to miss it, so go subscribe to his channel now. And plus, he has a bunch of other great content over there, so yeah, go give him a sub. Also, don't forget to follow me on Letterboxd. That will also be down in the description, guys. Go check it out and follow me. And that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching.